My name is the ERO Lounge. I am going to be sharing my screen with you in just a few moments, and we're going to go over all of the information about how to set up your tax business. So give me just a second and we'll get started. Let's see here. Ooh, okay, hold on. It's not even allowing me to do it. No worries. I'll be live in just a second. Okay, guys, so this is a Formation 101. So I'm going to bust a lot of the myths that you guys would be seeing from like LLC Twitter, Tats TikTok, and all the other shit that they lie about on the Blue app. So this webinar was specifically created by me. So welcome. Tonight I'm going to explore the process of forming a business. It's an exciting venture that requires dedication and hard work, but the potential reward can be tremendous. So I'll be busting some of those myths, and with the right guidance, you can ensure that your business is properly structured and set up successful. So, without any further ado, let's continue. So, a little bit about me. My name is Tamika Marina. I'm from Oakland, California. I've been an entrepreneur and in business for myself fully since 2005. I'm passionate about empowering others to reach their highest potential. I've been an entrepreneur for more than 2 decades now, right? And I'm passionate about helping you guys take your business to the next level. So, in my free time, I enjoy spending time with my family, being a mother to my 5 children, being a good wife to my husband, and just helping everyone in my immediate circle to be able to survive and strive. A little known fact about me is that I'm the oldest of 23 children. And of those 23 children, my dad raised the bulk of us to be entrepreneurs. So business is literally my business. So I'm glad that you joined me tonight, and I would really love to know what bring you guys here. I don't think we set up the restream all the way correctly. So for those of you guys that are seeing this moving forward, in order for us to be able to see the comments, we would love for you guys to be able to go and sign up for the restream. I will be sure to add that information so that we can have live exchanges and invite people to come in moving forward. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Starting a business can be exciting and challenging at the same time because depending upon where you are, it's not one size fits all. But with the right preparation and guidance, it can be a rewarding and successful venture. But you have to be sure that you're mapping it out correctly. So let's get started and make your dreams of owning a successful tax business become a reality. There's a couple of rules. The first one is don't get caught slipping. The first thing that you should do is don't get caught off guard by not being prepared in whatever this industry is getting ready to throw your way. There are a few things that you really need to know about. Legal asset protection are essential components of business formation. Assets can be protected from creditors, lawsuits, legal actions by establishing various legal entities, and engaging with an experienced attorney to review any contracts or agreements that you sign or provide legal advice. So, one of the first things that you want to make sure that you do is set up your business properly. If you have a service bureau, but you also prepare taxes, you might want to keep those two entities completely separate. Here's why. If you have any issues and you get sued, maybe someone breaks their contract for the non-compete, you sue them, they countersue you. If your service bureau and your tax business are housed in the same LLC, then that opens up all of the assets of both subsections of the business to be open for suit. This also means that if you are a tax preparer and you don't have an LLC, you're just out here preparing taxes. That's not to say that you're not a professional, but let me put it to you like this. If by some misfortune you were to have a car accident and you get sued, your tax business and all of its assets and its income is now subject to suit. They can use those assets, attach those assets, and levy your bank accounts if you're operating as a sole proprietor. So please make sure that you take that into consideration. Alrighty, next is business credit and funding benefits. So, business credit and funding is an incredibly beneficial way for your business and businesses of all sizes to be able to grow. It provides an access to capital to fund operations and growth, as well as improve your business credit score, which can lead to better loan terms and more access for continued financing. So, if you're a tax professional and maybe you were working under someone else and you're your first year out and you have your EFIN, you've got your EIN, now's the prime time for you to make sure that you incorporate the business into an LLC to keep your assets separate, and then also take the processes that you need to make sure that you start establishing your business credit. You might be working out of your living room right now, but if you set your business credit up properly, not only can you get funding, to go and lease a building, and purchase assets like printers, computers, desks for to continue to grow. You can also buy a building with low funding options because, well, we'll get to that in just a second. All right. But it will provide an access to capital to fund operations and growth. These credits can increase the business's credibility and make it more attractive to potential customers. So once your name starts to ring as being financial literate in the tax industry, it increases your brand of visibility, and it also makes your brand more palatable and trustworthy. All right. So additional businesses with good credit can also qualify for exclusive offers and discounts from vendors, suppliers, and lenders. So, for example, if some of you guys are in the credit asset world where you guys are doing credit repair, we know that in certain states you have to be bonded. Having a good rating on other businesses can also help to reduce your bond if you don't have certain claims and things of that nature under that particular, under the additional brands. It also gets you accounts. 30-day accounts that you can go and get credit against. So if you need forms, paper. Oh, great. That LinkedIn bot is working perfectly. Forms, paper, pens, computers, all of those assets can literally be bought with business credit and paid off over time, or even with just a little bit of leeway for that net 30. All right. Assessing business credit and funding can help your business maintain financial stability and better manage its own cash flow. All righty. Let's see. Next, the primary reason to incorporate is to protect yourself from legal action and levies against your business, as well as your personal. Again, like I said, if you had a barbecue at your house over the weekend and someone is walking outside and they slip on a brick and they stub their toe, if they sue you personally and your business is incorporated, they can't come and attach your business wages and assets. So keep that, take that into consideration. Incorporation creates a legal barrier between the business and its owners, which means that in the event of any legal action taken against the business, the owners are not personally liable for the business debts or their liabilities. It also helps to protect the business owner's personal assets, such as your home, car, and other property from being seized in the event of a lawsuit or other legal action. And finally, incorporating can help to limit the liability of the business owners since your personal assets are not exposed to legal claims against the business. If you have a preparer that is in your realms and they're committing fraud and you get sued, maybe not necessarily a criminal suit, but a civil suit, and they sue your business. Well, guess what? If you own your home and your car and you are not incorporated, guess who can take your house or your car or your other assets that you have? Levy your personal bank accounts. It can get really, really sticky when you're in the business of making money and you're responsible for other people's money. So I highly encourage anyone who is not set up as an LLC to please do so as soon as possible. Certain states do have culpability for filing as an LLC, so take heed of that. Specifically, my home state, California, they get you coming and they get you going, sis. So be prepared to not only pay for the fees to incorporate, but you've got an $800 alternative minimum tax. Every state is different. Anyone who is my mentor, my mentee, excuse me, has access to my business course, and we give you all of the direct information for you to go directly to your state where you don't have to pay any additional fees for you to incorporate with all of those clickable links. So make sure that you get that taken care of as soon as possible. All right. Um, let's see here. What else we got going on? All right. So who said it first? You have to establish your brand identity. Establishing a brand identity can be a great way to set yourself apart from the competition and help customers to recognize and remember your business name. Remember, when we're dealing in taxes, a lot of people have the same colors. We've got the same color schemes. We're all saying the exact same thing. We're talking about when you're going to get your refund. We're talking about what you could do to possibly increase your credit values, what you can do to decrease your tax liability. We're all saying the same spiel. A lot of our logos are going to look the same. People are either going to have, I know 3 other brands currently right now who are either transitioning into my exact brand color or are my exact brand color. That doesn't run me away. We know that people that choose taxes generally go with red, green, and yellow because it creates a sense of urgency. If you guys haven't done any research on brand identity and colors that draw in, I suggest that you do so. Those of you that are enrolled in class, you actually have seen the brand study and what those colors tend to invoke. So you want to get started with creating a unique logo. I know that my logo actually has the arrow that points up. I've had this logo since like 2005. It's not new. We've revamped it and changed it to make it look a little bit more updated as the time goes on, but try to stay away from standard logos that look like everyone else's. Try to stay away from things that are super bright, like glitter, that don't translate well when it's time for you to actually put your brand on paper. And consider creating a style guide that outlines how to use your logos, fonts, and colors to maintain consistency. If you don't have Canva, Canva is a very low cost, almost free app. I think it's free for a lot of things. It's like $12 for the first seat for Canva Pro and like $4 for each additional seat. Invest in that, sis. Please go out and get yourself your Canva. Establish what your brand colors are. You need main brand colors, which are generally 2 to 3, and then secondary brand colors, which are additionally which match the same set. So if you've got 2 brand colors, then you'd have two secondary colors. If you've got 4 main brand colors, then you'd have 4 secondary colors. I'm sorry for the sniffing. I'm starting to get sick, y'all. All right. So consider finally, make sure that you stay true to your brand identity and message in all aspects of your business. So I made this mistake a lot when I first got into business. I would write some stuff and then I'd get busy during tax season and I'd go and I hire someone and then they would write some stuff and then something would happen with them and it didn't work out. And then I'd find someone else. You want to make sure that you identify what your brand voice is so that someone can come behind you, read that brand profile, and then be able to post that's something that's going to be similar, that is on brand and in character with who your customer avatar is. All right, so next, according to your target market. All right, so when marketing your product or service, it's important to identify your target audience and tailor your messaging to meet their needs. But how do you do that? To corner your target audience, start by researching the interests of the demographic. So most people that are coming in trying to do taxes first, second, and third year, their ideal target market are going to be the EITC and the CTC filers. These are the guys that jump at the beginning of the year. They're ready, they're hot to go, they want their refund and their overpayment that they are entitled to. So if that is your target market, you want to speak to their sense of urgency. But what's going to set you apart is, ooh, look, I started early, huh? Anyway, I just read the message, y'all. Started a whole 30 minutes early. I wasn't supposed to start till 8:30. It's a good thing that this thing's records. Okay, so when you want to make sure that you're setting your brand apart, what's going to keep you different from everyone else is, yes, you're there to be able to refund them their overpayment, but educate them onto how their money could be working better for them if they weren't receiving an overpayment, right? That's what sets you apart from the data entry people that are an H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt. There was a post earlier today, and I want to say the Tats EFIN group, and then one of the ladies was like, hey, how do we compete with Jackson Hewitt and Liberty Tats? And the thing is, we don't. Our level of expertise as individual tax business owners is generally a lot higher than the average person that comes in for first and second year season to file taxes, because they don't necessarily teach them tax theory to stand on it. Yes, they do have to learn the same material depending upon what state that they're in order to pass the test to get their P10 to work for H&R Block and Jackson Hewitt, but their tax theory isn't reinforced in how they process taxes. They just enter the information into a system. So they're not challenged in tax theory. How do I know that? Used to work there long time ago. All right. So this will help you to create tailoring your demographics will help you to create tailored content that resonates with them, right? So if you are seeking the EITC head of household crowd, most of those people are unmarried, single, and they have children. So you want to make sure that what you're posting identifies with them as a brand. Post to the mother side of them, post to the parenting side of them, post to their ideals and needs. How do they save? How do they change the trajectory of their life to improve? How can they take that money and improve their situation moving forward? Because a lot of people take their tax money and they have grand ideas. All of this happens in the beginning of the year, right? So what happens at the beginning of the year? We all have these grand delusions of how we're going to be so much better than ourselves, and we wait until the beginning of the year to enact who this is. So speak to that. Speak to what their needs are in order to attract them to you. All right. And make sure to track the success of your campaigns and adjust your strategies accordingly. That's where a lot of people are failing. If you're not monitoring your analytics and tracking your KPIs, you don't know what's working, you don't know what's not working, and you can't pinpoint how to pivot and where to dump the rest of your advertising budget, right? If you do not have an advertising budget, you are grossly underserving yourself. I don't care if your advertising budget is $200 or $2,000. Establish a budget, know what you're going to spend, and see what works for you. I started my first business. I want to say we probably had about 500 flyers. And when I say flyers, I mean, when we ran out of flyers, we didn't go print more postcards. We sat down and we printed it off on ink on paper, and we were sending out and passing it out on the corners in guerrilla marketing, and had an extremely successful year. So start where you are and grow from there. Done is way better than perfect when it comes to the marketing aspect of it. But when I say that, don't go out there misspelling a whole bunch of words and grammatical errors and stuff like that. But yes, you want to make sure that you're getting your brand out there for identity purposes first. You can fine tune how pretty your postcards are later. All right, so mitigating brand liability is about reducing the risk associated with your business's activities. And this can be done by regularly monitoring and assessing potential risks, creating clear policies and procedures to address risks that are identified. So this includes training employees on how to follow these policies and procedures, which would be your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. If you do not have SOPs, if everything is in your head, then you are not ready to hire someone, because your staff and team cannot be mind readers. They have to know the magic of what makes your brand function. So a good way for you to be able to channel that is to start journaling. I know this seems like really weird, but journal about your business. Today we did XYZ. Today I found out that if I do, excuse me. Whew, okay, sorry about that. Today I discovered that the postcards that we printed with the red arrows did 100% better than the postcards that we printed with the green check marks. You'll want to track your branding to make sure that you establish what campaign belongs to what. All right. So to ensure that your contracts, you should also ensure that your contracts with vendors and or third-party suppliers and address those potential risks as well. That they have the necessary insurance coverage to cover any potential liabilities. All right, so this speaks directly to our EROs. So if you've got people that are working under you, or if you are allowing someone to work under your EFIN, their P10, the split, whatever the case may be, if you are not physically reviewing their returns, it is my professional advice that you make them carry a bond. In that bond, you should be listed as the additionally insured. This is your CYA, right? That way, if they are fined, you can post against their bond to make sure that your damages, I'm going to say, are mitigated. All right. And your business should establish clear and effective communication channels with customers, regulators, so any potential issues can be addressed quickly and efficiently. So make sure that when you are handing out those EFINs, that the address for the office is physically the address for the person that's using that EFIN. That way, if the IRS has to come and unplug some crap, they're going to the correct office. All right. Okay. How to spend $1 million. How do you spend $1 million? Trust me, it's it's easier than you think, especially when you are in business. All right. So attorneys are not cheap. You don't have to run out and get an attorney, but it's true that they can be expensive to hire. And the more experienced and knowledgeable they are, the more that they will charge you. However, it's important to remember that the money that you spend on an attorney may be a wise investment in the long run, as they can provide valuable advice and representation that can help you save time and money in the long run. It is also important to carefully evaluate your needs and find an attorney who has the experience and knowledge to help you the best way possible. So if you cannot afford an attorney for you to be able to incorporate, there are several different online programs that will walk you through it and do it for a fraction of the cost. If you're not a paperwork person, do not sign up to be your registered agent, because that comes with a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that you file the statements on time. You do not want to have an LLC, you sitting back and you kicking back and you did not file your statement of information in the correct amount of time, and now your LLC is void. You lose your protection. You want to make sure that you're paying your taxes and all of that good stuff on time. So if you cannot get an attorney, make sure that you go through the proper channels to incorporate the business, and or use the links that are located. I'm sorry, guys. Use the links that are located directly in the course for you to be able to register in your respective state. All right. Agents that you use must be registered in your state. So as a business owner, you have to make sure that all of your agents are registered with the appropriate authorities to ensure that the agents are compliant with the laws and regulations of your state and they are operating in an ethical and professional manner. Being a registered agent means that they can provide their services in a timely manner and have access to resources provided by the state. So when you're hiring that agent, if it's not yourself, make sure that they are licensed to be in your state. So I know LegalZoom, InkFile are a couple of different ones, and they provide agent services if you are unfamiliar with what that is. If you do not know what it means to be a registered agent, leave some notes, ask your questions in the comments, and I'll get back to you guys in regards to that. Alrighty, so now let's talk about money and friends, because the minute we jump into business, the first thing we want to do is kind of like reach back and pull our people up, right? We want to put everybody on. Let's get this money. Let's all get rich, right? It does not happen like that. I'm sorry, I got to turn this on Do Not Disturb. It doesn't always happen the way that we want it to, right? It can be tricky to manage money and friendships when it comes to business. It can definitely be mixy. So let's just start and get this out the way, right? Business is business. To avoid that, you have to establish clear boundaries and expectations from the very beginning to avoid misunderstandings. Contracts, NDAs, non-competes. Get that shit out the way from the very beginning. It's important to remember that a business relationship is distinct from a friendship, and business has to be left at the door when it comes to the friendship, and friendship has to be left at the door when it comes to business. If you can't get through simple paperwork, you know what I mean, without someone getting offended, that probably isn't the person that you want to be in charge of or having access to your business and or your money. But in the event that it is, formalize agreements to mitigate damages and save and foster personal and business relationships. It's a way of creating and negotiating agreements. It's important to ensure that you are mutually beneficial and it protects the interests of everybody that is involved, not just for yourself. Another mistake that a lot of people make when it comes to business is the annual reports. They are important part of the business because they provide insight into the financial performance of your business. And for this reason, annual reports must be accurate and comprehensive. You also have to have meeting minutes, right? So as an LLC, most states require that you meet, even if it's just yourself. You have to discuss exactly what transpired in the business for that particular month, review the profit and loss statements, compile that into meeting minutes, sign off on it, and file that with your company or articles of organizations in your binder. Excuse me. So that is actually a requirement for you to be able to maintain your protections under your LLC. Alrighty, so now let's talk about those annual reports. All right. So professionals can help you to minimize potential errors and make sure that the report is presented in a way that is easily understandable and compliant with all applicable laws. Now, just because you do taxes does not mean that you understand bookkeeping. One has nothing to do with the other. So if you do not understand the difference between debits, credits, if you're unfamiliar with journal entries and you have no idea what an owner draw is or in capital investment, leave that to the professionals or take a bookkeeping course to help walk you through this process. Because just like we tell other business owners and our individuals when we file their taxes, if your reports and your proof isn't up to par, when that audit comes a knocking, we all know what's going to happen. So getting out the way sometimes and letting a professional work on those annual reports ensures that the company's financials are reported accurately and in full. Now, the thing about the annual reports is deadlines are detrimental, especially if it comes with an annual filing. So, quarterly reports actually come into play as well. So, if you are a single member LLC, your quarterly estimated payments, your quarterly reports will tell you exactly how much that's supposed to be. Annual reports would be like 941s for the payroll if you've got that information, and then also just the tax filing for the business specifically. I didn't always file my business taxes. I actually used to outsource and hire it for someone else, especially when I started sitting on the board of nonprofits. I would outsource my business tax filings just because it looks cleaner to me for me to have that portion of the business set separate. All right. Working with a professional can save time and money in the long run. You know, you offset that risk versus the cost. I'd rather pay someone else, $850, $1,200 to file the partnership return, to file the C Corp return, to file the nonprofit, as opposed to me having to file it. And now if anything happens, I'm personally called because not only am I the business owner, but now I have to represent myself. I don't like to do all that talking. I'd rather just pay somebody, get somebody else to do it. Okay. Now let's get to the part that is really juicy, which is why most people probably talk about unlocking business credit. And business credit is a process of improving your business credit rating so that you can access better financing options. Okay, so first thing you need to do is have a business zoned address. Having a business zone address can be a positive effect on your business. When creditors go to look up your address, when they look up your business, if they see a house, if you're residentially zoned, they're not taking you seriously. That's just your business rating. It actually rates you lower. Your SEO is very important. All right. So having a business zone address, lenders can be assured that your business is following the necessary regulations, is in good standing with the local government, because most local governments require you to, well, not most, some local governments require you to have a business license in order for you to be able to operate. It will also provide lenders with the confidence in your business, which can lead to a higher credit score. All right. So number 2 is SEO. A search engine optimization can have a significant impact on your business credit. SEO helps increase your visibility online, which can lead to an increase of customer inquiries and sales. And this increased visibility can also result in more favorable reviews, which can have a positive effect on your business credit score. Additionally, SEO can help establish your business as a reliable and reputable source of information, which can positively influence your business credit score. All right. So then you want to make sure that you're pulling out inconsistent information. So your inconsistent information on your business reports can have a negative effect on your business's ability to obtain financing and credit. So it's the same as with your personal credit. If you've got various addresses all over the place, that indicates instability. Telephone numbers that are old, telephone numbers that no longer work. websites that have broken links and things of that nature. None of that information looks good when you're doing business, because you want to make sure that your customers can get to you the easiest, as well as your creditors. If information is inconsistent, it makes it look like you might be hiding something. So make sure that you're updating that information and checking your links consistently. All right. When lenders review a business credit report, they look for accurate, up-to-date information to ensure that the business is in good standing. And discrepancies in that information can indicate that the business is not managing their finances properly or has not been paying their bills on time. And this can lead lenders to deny credit requests or offer less favorable terms. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to get the credit. It just means that you're going to get a ridiculous ass interest rate. All right, so improper or high risk NAICS codes. All right. I have a whole divulge into NAICS codes, what it means, the SIC codes, and how that averages out. But I'm not going to go too deep into that here. Let's just say that when you use your business codes incorrectly, or you use high risk NAT codes, it can lead to inaccurate financial reporting. It can cause lenders to be reluctant to extend credit to the business, as they cannot accurately assess the credit worthiness of the business. High-risk NAT codes can lead to higher insurance premiums and other fees associated with business operations. These costs can strain the financial resources of your business, and lenders may view this as a negative indicator of the business's ability to repay their debts. So the same goes with not paying your bills on time or in full. So most business credit is like net 10, net 30 day at the latest. Some of them have longer extensions of credit. It kind of depends on exactly how much money is being exchanged, right? But anyway, it goes. Late payments hurt your business credit score, making it more difficult to get financing in the future. And on top of that, you incur late fees, which can add over time and add to your expenses. Your interest rates can get hiked if you are habitually late on your payments. And to ensure your business credit stays in good standing, just make sure that you're making timely payments on all of your bills, and don't buy anything that you can't turn around and pay off. Like, in my opinion, with business credit, like almost immediately. I will get into some of the predatory loans that I see coming through business credit in another week. But let's talk about rock solid business foundations. Okay, compliant businesses are often considered rock solid businesses because they adhere to all of the applicable laws and regulations, which helps ensure the business is operating ethically and responsibly. So, compliant businesses is often seen as trustworthy and reliable, which leads to build customer loyalty and attract new customers. Um, Filing and paying your taxes on time is crucial to the success of your business. And not only does it demonstrate your commitment to your business and to the law, but it also helps to ensure that you are both staying compliant with both the state, federal, and tax regulations. So if your business isn't paying, if your business is filing taxes, but your business is avoiding paying its own taxes, that does not breed a lot of confidence, not only with creditors and investors, but also with clients. Last but not least, SEO. It's going to come up again and again and again. SEO helps you build relationships with customers and keep them engaged on your brand, and that makes your business rock solid and well positioned for success. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily feel the same way in regards to systems. I know a lot of people that are like, hey, I just use my tax software and I don't need all the bells and whistles, and I'll just keep posting on Facebook and someone's going to see my reels eventually and everything's going to work out. But having a systemized approach to running your business can provide you with a rock solid foundation of success, and it also helps you to identify when shit goes wrong, right? If you have standard operating procedures, you can literally pinpoint when something breaks down. You can improve it in pieces as opposed to going to the scratch line and revamping everything all at once, which is complicated and incurs more cost than what it is worth. Systems are absolutely necessary. And last but not least, having a system in place for all aspects of your business, follow how you manage your finances and marketing to help you create, deliver your products and or services will ensure that your business is run in an organized and efficient manner. Ultimately, having systems in place will save you time and energy so that you can focus on building and growing the business. And it also allows you to be able to bring in help. So again, back to that journal. Your journal for your business is your first system. You're telling people how it started. Now, how I started in 2005 working for myself and how I am operating in 2023 is a far cry. I started with just myself. You know what I mean? Looking at bank statements with a laptop on my lap, sitting in bed with my infant. as it states right now, I'm sitting in an office building and I've got, 19 different employees that are under me as VAs, plus the partners that I have working with me in regards to taxes, plus my tax preparers. So you can't scale and you can't move unless you implement the systems. All right. And last but not least is business plan. A lot of people think that you don't have to have a business plan. I'm a planner. I'm a Virgo, and I double down on my Virgo. I'm a Virgo. So having a business plan helps you to create your clear roadmap on how you can reach your goals. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and write this 27-page business plan and have all of these financials. Your business plan can be something as minute as a vision board. But where do you want to go? I'm going to be a tax preparer and I'm going to work as a tax preparer. So I'm going to get me a nice service bureau or an accountant. Excuse me, not an accountant, a tax professional, service bureau, ERO, maybe even a CPA that does taxes, a tax attorney. I'm going to get up under someone. I'm going to work under them. And that's how I'm going to make my money. If that's good for you, that's fine. Business plan, not necessary. But if you're an ERO and you want tax pros under you, if you one day aspire to be a service bureau, if you one day aspire to transition or use taxes as a stepping stone to build a connecting business, then a business plan is going to be necessary. All right. So it gives you a plan of action that can help you follow the steps to keep you on track. You create a structure for how you will manage your resources and your finances, and it allows you to track your progress and adjust your strategy as needed so that you can pivot. Having a business plan helps you to create an environment of success for your business by creating a clear path to success. Now, the plan don't always work. We all know that. Plans change, but not having a plan is one of the biggest failures that you can have as business. All right. How to pick your clientele. Because again, as we come in and we're new, we are generally so eager to have clients that we're really not that picky. But as we continue to gain additional knowledge, maybe get a mentor, get a coach, or just have bad experiences from not being picky with our clientele, you kind of hone in on who you want to service and then who you don't want to service. All right. So, who do you want to serve? Have you thought about the type of clientele that you want to host, and why does it matter where you are located and what types of guests you want to host? So, for example, do you want to only work with CEOs, medical professionals, or do you want to help families? There are more than just leisure travelers. There are over 5 types of travelers. And if you can't name at least 3, then you aren't ready yet. So, one thing you could do when you come that you're coming up with who you want to help, you have to figure it out. So, do you want to do I want to do sole proprietors. So 1099 gig workers and people who drive Uber. Okay, that's great. Some people may only want to do business taxes, 1065s, restaurants, sales tax, picking out your clientele and what you're going to niche into will help you to be able to track your KPIs on how your business and your marketing is actually delivering you your ideal clientele. One thing you could do when you're coming up is choosing the area. So where your office is located will also have a direct effect on the type of clientele that you're going to attract. If you have a storefront and you are in a high traffic area, then you're going to expect a lot of foot traffic. However, if you're in an office building and you've got a suite, then your advertising is going to have to pull people in because they might not be aware that you are there. Now, this works well if you don't want someone just popping their head into your store and you're catering to a higher level of clientele. Maybe you only take care of CEOs, CFOs, medical professionals, doctors and dentists and lawyers, and that's your ideal clientele. And they don't want someone popping their head in. They want their privacy. So a suite would be better suited. I choose both. I always have a personal suite office that I send my more upscale clientele to for one-on-one appointments. And then we also do the foot traffic because let's just face it, that's where the money is. All right. Okay. So, we recently moved over from the offices that we have in California, and currently we're setting up offices in Oklahoma City. So, what's this city known for? It's a college town, right? So, whenever I go out and I've like saturated and did like a little bit of nightlife research, I found that most of the people concentrate in regards to the college. It's got football, and then we've got an Air Force base. So, my ideal clientele that I'm going to be looking for are going to be students, So high AOTC, right? There are going to be students that are here. We're going to be looking at businesses, the research medical professionals. There's a research facility in regards to the college. We're going to be looking at the professionals for professors. So teachers, people that have tenure are going to be my ideal clientele. And then we are also going to be looking at athletes, right? Because we've got the Jazz, not the Jazz. Hold on, wait just a second. Hold on. The OKC, don't give me the Lion. Anyway, look, I'm gonna lose the city already. Thunder. There we go. It was on the back of my tongue. Okay. So we've got the OKC Thunder. So people that are in, it's an athlete town, and then military. So then we would also be looking at people who are located in the Air Force and the base that's over here. So that's what's popular in this particular city. You're going to want to do your market research on what's big in your particular city and then go after that demographic. It's going to be oversaturated, so you'll be able to get some clients directly from that pitch. Okay. Business plans, they hit different. All right, so it's important to create a business plan that takes into account all aspects of running a business, including the marketing, financial operations, and the personnel. So, when providing potential investors and lenders with the information that they need to evaluate your business, to sum it up, a business plan is a tool to help guide the development of your business to ensure that it's going to be professional. So, as I said, failing to plan is planning to fail. You need to be able to project your profits. How do you do that? Well, what's your goal? If you plan on doing 300 tax returns, and then you charge a minimum of $300 for each tax return, then you're looking at $90,000. That's your projection of profits for the year. You're going to have to create a cushion to be able to mitigate that loss. So, what happens if you do get 300 clients, but you don't close all of them? What happens if your close rate is, say, if 300 clients, you only close 20% of those guys? So, of the 300 clients that you got from the first marketing campaign, you closed only about 60 of them. Well, those 60 people paid a minimum of $300. That's $18,000. So, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of cushion to be able to mitigate those losses. Do your market research. Again, what's popular in your particular area for you to be able to pull in those types of clientele. And then proof of investment and dedication. That's number one. Are you educated? Anybody, literally anybody, can get tax software and enter their information and play around with the numbers. Anybody can do that. Anybody does do that. But proof of you knowing how to be able to assist your client legally and ethically, it's what's going to set you apart. Also, I did a post not too long ago where I was talking about leaving money on the table. So I see a lot of posts in groups where people are always seeking information on how to save their clients money. But by the time they're asking this question, we're already in the season. So there's no way for you to really tax plan in the season. Well, there's minimal tax planning options that are available while you're in the middle of a tax season. So take the time to make sure that you're upselling your client to move forward. Like, hey, we could have done XYZ and reduce your tax liability. So let's get this taken care of moving forward. And that is an associated cost. And then depending upon what maintenance is needed for that tax plan, that is also a monthly cost. So, but you have to be able to invest in yourself to be able to retain that level of education. So, first year students, concentrate on doing taxes. But once you're out of tax season, make sure that you're getting that additional CE. By the time you finish your first tax year, you'll have an idea of who you want to work with and who you don't want to. So that niche retention is where you're going to come into play. Hey, I know I don't want to work with small business owners anymore that don't do bookkeeping, because they come in, they got their box of receipts. They don't want to pay for the bookkeeping. They don't see the value in it, but it takes you an additional 2 hours to sort through the mess of doing the tax return. So I don't want to work with those people anymore if they don't want to upgrade for bookkeeping. So now you've niched in to business owners who also have a dedicated bookkeeper. You can either add bookkeeping services and hire someone, or you can partner with a good bookkeeper, or you can ask to partner with a CPA that does not do taxes. All righty. And then grants, donation, and funding. Being able to produce a business plan with all of the information that I just listed will get you grants, donations, and funding, because it tells the investors that you know where your next dollar is coming from. You've got a plan for how you're going to go out there and get this money. It's not just in your head, it's out there on paper. It makes sense. The numbers match. It stacks up. All right. So to some, excuse me. All righty, so moving right along. A lot of people feel that business goals are not necessarily required when you're birthing your business. And nah, it is. Do not start off wrong. There's actually a whole psychology behind people who set goals and why they are more likely to obtain the success that they are driven for. So you want to make sure that you go into this with the steps mapped out for you, even if you don't plan on going further than just being a tax preparer. You want to map out how the season is going to go. You want to have your goals. How much does it cost for your supplies? How much does it cost for your paper? How many tax returns did you print last year? On average, a tax return is anywhere between a bank product tax return is anywhere between 30 to 75 pages. Take all of that stuff into consideration and make sure that you're doing your own bookkeeping on the back end, please, because even if you are just a tax preparer, if you getting a 1099 and you're going to use expenses against that, guess what? You've got the burden of proof, especially if you have children and you fall into the EITC and the CTC. All right. Set goals and make numbers. Having a clear and measurable goal will help you stay focused and motivate you to work toward achieving them. SMART goals. I'm pretty sure everyone here has heard of SMART goals, but let's break it down. All right. Smarter goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, ethical, and rewarding. And it literally goes directly in this order. Okay, let me bounce this back. All right. So specific, they target a particular area of functioning and focus on building it. Your specific goal in this niche group would be providing short-term housing, right? Measurable. The results, oh, I'm sorry. When I wrote this original one, I was actually doing this for my real estate because that's actually my niche. So that's why it says short-term housing. My bad, y'all. Your goal would be making sure your short-term specific goal would be closing out your season with maybe a minimum of 100 tax returns, right? The results can be gauged quantitatively or at the least indicated by some qualitative attributes. This helps in monitoring the progress after executing your plan. This is where you literally go off. So say you want to be a service bureau. So you start with short-term goals, right? You start with yourself as a tax preparer. You get all of your education, you work your way up, and now you're an ERO. You're year two. Maybe you've recruited someone or you've gotten a partner. You've got someone that's working under you. You might start selling software on your second year. You want to establish yourself as a brand, right? So to scale, you're going to start with your first attainable goal, which is making it through your first tax season. Your second attainable goal would be to, one, get the education to be able to offer tier level 2 services to your tax clients. And two, to make sure that you have the ability to answer the questions of the people that you're bringing on behind you. Oh, so that's a lot of CE that you're going to have to take, but it's attainable. Target to suit, right? So for example, your goal is to increase your customer base by 10%. Break it down into smaller goals, such as reaching out to 10 new customers a week or implementing an effective lead generation strategy. Maybe you want to start with Facebook ads or Google ads or maybe even TikTok. So once you have a roadmap for your goals, you want to focus on setting the timeline and developing a plan to help you stay on track. So currently we're running a Facebook ad program, right? So we're running it, we're spending $50 a day. From that, we want to have a 10% close rate. With that 10% close rate, we should be seeing roughly about 60 appointments a week. Does that seem how I've taken my specific, measurable, and attainable goal? I've made it realistic and I've given it a time-bound, practical plan. All right, so ethical, intervention, redirection, execution. So the E in the ethical just turns around for where we need to pivot. Maybe the first time we ran ads, we used a graphic. Graphics do not translate well on Facebook. We turned it around. We started using video. Video translated a lot better. So I switched my ethics, I pivoted, and I fixed that video. And my reward is my measurable end results, which are all of the appointments that are on the calendar for me and my tax preparers for us to be able to close out our season and make our goal. All right. So far we've covered the fundamentals of starting a business, ways to unlock business credit, building a rock solid business foundation, and picking the right clientele and setting smarter goals. Whew. All right. That's it. um, so I'm gonna do a giveaway for every member who invites at least 20 members to the group. Let's see, what do I want to give you guys? I am going to give you guys ad copy. I'll give you guys ad copy for a Facebook ad, and we'll do a free video giveaway. Now, of course, you guys are going to have to run your ads yourself because, but I'll give you the ad copy, and we'll do a graphic for design, and you guys can actually fix it so that it's video, because it does definitely translate a lot better when it's video. But that will be the giveaway. Alrighty, so thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for coming. I know I started a little bit earlier. This is going to be saved directly in the group. You can also catch it on our YouTube channel. In the future, I'll post the link so you guys can comment live and ask any questions that you may have. Let's gonna say here, thank you so much. As always, let me close this out. As always, I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much for tuning in. And if you guys have questions, we'll go ahead and we'll get this posted directly into the guides. Thank you so much for coming out, and you guys enjoy your evening. Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. I got chats. Okay, so yeah, I actually can see you guys' chats. That's so amazing, but it doesn't tell me who you are. So it just gives you guys like the marketing. I can see you guys saying hello and pitching in. But yeah, what I'll do is I'm going to fix it so that I can see who the comments are. And then if you guys have questions for me, just do it directly into the guide and I'll answer any questions that you guys have. So thank you so much for coming to this week's ERO Lounge, and I will see you guys next week. You guys take care.